Greetings, everyone. There's so many of us walking around with unhealed part of ourselves. Some of us, our hearts are broken. And the worst thing, it's not broken by strangers, it's broken by the ones that we love. Our parents, our children, our partner, our family. When people outside of our households or outside of our family do things to us, it hurts. But for some reason, forgiveness comes so much easier because you kind of expect that human being, as fragile as we are, often will look for other person to empty your rage on because we are walking around with these wounds. When you watch what's going on in our community, there are so many fractured people, so many broken-hearted people. And it's very difficult to see that when they're offending you. But collectively, we walk with such baggage from our past, passed down from our ancestors, from our parents, from our family, but doesn't change the fact that when these ones unleash their rage on you, it's so difficult. So when people are always coming to you and saying, oh, you should forgive, forgiveness doesn't mean that you put yourself in the center of their inappropriate behavior or dysfunction. Sometimes you got to remove yourself. When your husband or your partner becomes your enemy, do things to you that devastate you, not just financially, but emotionally. Some people, when they're done with you, they'll separate you from God because you're so hurt, you're so wounded that you're saying to yourself, God, where were you? How come you didn't do this or that for me? Why couldn't you have saved me from such ones? And in these cases, sometimes, God will allow these things to happen to you just to teach you a moral lesson, to give you strong strength. But sometimes I say to myself, I don't want to be strong, because once someone is starting to tell you that you're strong, that means you're going through some fire, you're going through, some valleys, some peaks, some lows. And so for me, the idea of forgiveness doesn't mean that I will ever come close to you again. I'll never be close to my maternal mother. For me, she is like an egg donor. And though she carries her own wounds, don't get me wrong, the trauma is evident. But the wickedness that comes with people, after a while, people become so wicked that even a person who gives birth to another one will do such horrible things. Your children that you give birth to can be so wicked sometimes that you have spent your entire life dedicating yourself to these ones, and the ungratefulness is too real. You got a lot of parents tossed into nursing homes after they have given everything to their children, nurtured them, loved them, sacrificed everything for them. This is why, as mothers, we have to give our love, but reserve some for yourself, because these generation, they got no attachment to anybody. So if you feel like you want to show that you're a super mommy and neglect yourself, how many of you as moms have children, especially if you have daughters, that look out for you, want to see the best for you? Some kids just want to see you in the kitchen, just want to see you being their slave, their nanny, looking after their children. Their idea of you being an independent person, at a point where you need to be doing for you, is something that they don't understand. They are ungrateful. So you as a mom, you love your children when they get to a certain age. Let them go about their business. And if they are with you, you let them be responsible for themselves. If they go out and they start having children, whether they can afford these children or not, they're not your problem. It is your season. Once you've raised your children, it's your season. Mom, it's your season. Stop arguing with these adult children about their own life. Let them go about their business and you live your own life. And don't let them make plans for you. You serve them, and at the end, when you look, you don't hear them. And if you hear them, it's almost like they don't see you. You're talking to your children, and to be honest with you, they're looking at you, but they're not even listening because they're busy with their own life. That's why you cannot sacrifice no life for no children. You want to pursue a career, put them in daycare. Try to get good care for them. Make sure they're safe and all of that. But don't sacrifice yourself for no children walking with no badge. Oh, greatest mom ever was, greatest dad ever was. Be a good parent. Do the best you can for your kids. But that doesn't mean you sacrifice your whole life, your whole existence for them, expecting that they are going to come and take care of you when you're old. First and foremost, that is not your children's role to look after you when you're old. You secure yourself. Set aside something for your old days. And if you have good kids, hopefully they remember that you are a great mom, and they will, make sure that you're fine. So the children are not responsible for you, but you're not responsible for them after they get to a certain age either. Start doing for you. Start taking care of you. You have very few children girls, for example, that will come and make sure their mom looks nice. Some kids want you to look drag up and drag down. You have kids who, after you've been single for a long time and you've raised them, if you meet someone and the person is making you happy, they try to make problems in your relationship. If you allow them, because kids know who they can play with. The whole idea of forgiveness should be focused on yourself, forgiving yourself for the things that you've done. You know when you do things that are right or wrong. You know when, you could have been better, you could have done things better, but because of the wounds that you carry sometimes, you might say or do some things that you have to forgive yourself for. But stop walking around or letting people pressure you, people who have good parents, for example, pressure you into going after parents who are wicked. There's some very evil moms out there. Wicked. My maternal mother, I don't know what else to say. I have to say maternal because I have no connection to this woman. Encouraged me to go on the road and take some random taxi to come to some horrible place that she lives, and said she couldn't wait for me to come there so she could do harm, really, for something to happen to me. I could never love that woman. If I fed that lady, I would only do it because I would do it for a random stranger. I have no feelings. If that lady passes, I don't even want to know. It sounds awful. But I have to preserve myself and protect myself. And when my enemy come in the form of family or friends, what am I supposed to be? Jesus? I'm not Jesus. Did Jesus forgive everybody? No, he didn't. Not even in the Bible, everybody who was evil was not forgiven or is not forgiven. Just read the thing for yourself, man. So I'm not walking around with any halo around my head. I speak the truth as is necessary. And there are times when people do things to you and you can forgive when you see true repentance. You can't forgive people who repeatedly harm you. Talk to me, man. Can you continue to put yourself in the line of fire with these ones who are hurting you? You clearly show that they don't love you. Your loved ones, your family hurt you. And when you say, okay, I'm not going to allow you to hurt me anymore, and you put up a bar, they move on. And they act like they don't know you. They couldn't care less. In fact, after you've given them everything and you decide that I'm not going to allow you to use me anymore, they start flaunting the fact that they don't need you and leave you in this place where you're spinning. You're saying, OMG, I finally stand up for myself. And because of that, I get abandoned. Listen, you're better off alone. It's better for the man to leave you than to constantly stay in that space and hurt you. If the man betrayed you, understand, if you want to forgive, it is up to you. But you have to shift your focus now. See, a lot of these men who are out here having affairs on their wives, and the women are devastated when they find out. And if they decide to stay for whatever reason, because sometimes you have to stay, sometimes you have to stay in that marriage and be smart and make sure that you do a Rita Marley on them. Sometimes the kids do things to you and you have to stay. You don't have to let them know your last word or how you feel. You still love them, but then you start to be smart. You start taking care of yourself. Sometimes these things are allowed to happen to you to open your eyes. There's a particular woman whose man disgraced her recently. You think that woman is dumb? You think she don't know that it's time for her to shift her focus from taking care of man and start taking care of herself? There are times when women stay in marriages where men cheat. And it's not because they're dumb, they call them yummy. It's because they're brilliant. And those men, in a vision recently, I saw one of these men, trying to do better as a husband. When the woman moved on, she moved on a long time ago, but physically she's still present because she's smart, she's building. Build yourself, people, after her. Stay blessed, everyone.